So in this video, we're going to go over what I call the 7 habits of highly effective cyclists. I like to use the word effective because I don't want to necessarily equate this as you have to do this for, to be a successful cyclist and win races, because frankly, that's not why most people ride their bikes. So we can kind of define this effectiveness or this success a lot of different ways. Maybe it's just remaining healthy or getting the most enjoyment out of your riding, or being able to do it for the longest time. And so these habits are kind of rolls all those into one. So let's get started. So the first habit is when cyclists make it a priority to learn from and listen to their body. This can be something as simple as just when the body lets you know it might be the last interval to do, and not push it too hard, or if you feel an ache or a pain or a tweak coming on, instead of ignoring it, it's understanding that, we need to pay attention to that. And this can be a pretty tough one. It's not one that everyone is great at. Some people are better at it than others, of course. But I think this is one that can be learned. You can really, through a series of just cues and habits, you can just kind of make yourself better at this one just by stopping every once in a while and paying attention. And if you do that, a lot of times you realize your body is telling you what it needs. Cyclists that do this are the ones that avoid injury. They come to races healthier, feeling better, more confident. Number two is to periodize and polarize. So this refers specifically to training. The athletes that do the best know how to first periodize, meaning they're breaking their months, their weeks, their years up into sections where they're working on different things. And then polarizing means they really know when to go hard and when to go easy. And then, so when they go hard, they go very hard. And when they go easy, they go very easy. And it has a really significant effect on how well that person is able to train. And I found it actually allows athletes to actually absorb more training because they're doing such a good job on the recovery end, and then when they're going hard, they're making sure that they get that effort in. Number 3 is it helps to know how to have fun. We got to remember that most of us are not going to make a living doing this, and I think it's important to actually plan in fun rides on a pretty consistent basis. I like to work maybe in at least one a week where it's just you're not focusing on the power meter or the heart rate monitor. You're just kind of going out, listening to your body a little bit, but just going out for the fun of it. If you're always on the road, maybe if you really enjoy, jump on the mountain bike, do something different. And that leads me to number 4, which is really successful cyclists, really successful and efficient athletes, cross-train, doing different things. Don't always spend all your time on the road, get on the mountain bike. Or you can even do other sports, doing a little bit of, maybe some athletes like to also cross-train with some running or cross-country skiing or some other activity that's just a little different. And because cycling is such a repetitive task, we need to work outside of those repetitive sort of prison cells that we're in to some extent. And because that's what feeds injury, is that repetition. And in this vein, as far as cross-training, is lifting weights. It almost should be its own category all by itself for effective cyclists. But I find that cyclists that lift weights just do better. It doesn't take a whole bunch, but a little bit goes a long way, and it helps to, again, work on some of the asymmetry problems. It works on injury management and prevention. It just has a lot of benefits that will keep you on the bike healthier for longer and feeling better. Number 5, of course, this one is near and dear to my heart, is when people get a bike fit, or at least they know they're fit. You don't have to go out necessarily and get a bike fit. I think it can be helpful when it's a really high quality fit, but just maybe even if you just investigate, alternatives. If you're having issues, you need to trial different things. A bike fit obviously would help you solve that, but many cyclists have kind of found their optimal position just through trial and error, listening to their body and just trying new things and trying to figure out what might actually help them on the bike. So just invest. I would maybe amend this one to be named just investigate yourself on the bike. Investigate how you're riding and maybe trying to find that most efficient position. And this kind of leads right into number 6, which is you need to be open to new things. You need to at least open yourself up to the idea that you need to, maybe trying a new way of doing things might actually be beneficial for you. again, going back to bike fit, it can really pay off there. Training techniques, same kind of thing. Experimenting with new things and being open to trying new things instead of always staying in the same rut the way you've done it. And it can even work over into equipment. I have a really good friend who about over 20 years ago saw one of the first 29ers built and tried it out, and it felt right for him. So he really began to experiment more with it, and he was convinced, even this was in the mid to late 90s, that this is the way he wanted to ride. And sure enough, it took a while, but the industry caught up and realized that bigger wheels might work really well in certain situations. And it was the same kind of scenario with wider tires on the road bike. A lot of people early on thought like, hey, these feel pretty good. And I don't really feel that much slower when I'm on 25 or even a 27 or 28. And sure enough, now you're starting to see more of that. And the last thing, and this is a pretty big one, the last habit of a really effective cyclist is someone who works on their weaknesses. It's really easy, and it can often be really fun to kind of play to our strengths. But really the most successful, and again, as I mentioned at the beginning, we define success a lot of different ways. The most successful cyclists are going to be the ones that find those weaknesses, pick them out, and just start chipping away at them, whether that's an asymmetry or it's a weakness on one side or something. So it's one of the best ways to improve yourself as a cyclist. So of course, there's a ton of other habits that would be beneficial. If you think of anything, put it down in the comments below. Love to hear about that. We can just keep amending things as we go. Just want to do a quick update. I will be having one of my new programs coming out actually sooner than I thought. I was able to shoot a lot of it in the last week, and I'm working hard on editing it. This is the one about the step-by-step process, how to, what's the best way to go about finding the correct bike size for your next bike, so that's the first step to getting the best bike fit, is to make sure you have the correct size. So look for that. Actually, it should be coming out in the next, I'm hoping in the next week and a half or so, to have the first few modules up. You can go to my website. I'll have a link below to the landing page for that, and also just to the website if you want to sign up as a member. It's free, and you can I will actually send out an email and everything to everybody once that is live. That's all I have for this one. Thanks everyone. I will see you next time.